There's never been a doubt that I was gonna become a professional disc golfer.
I was like, dude, she rips. She's got to like play competitive.
Well, come on, it's the two hot geese. Honk.
I don't know that I'd be playing professional disc golf without that moment.
Her game just skyrocketed.
I knew who she was with Westside. I really liked her her quirkiness.
And then you could see the joy in her eyes.
I think that playing disc golf with you, Dad, helped me see you as a person.
Dude, we exclusively played in Chacos.
I used to play most tournaments in Chacos. One of the best parts about being sponsored is you get to pick all the prettiest, swirliest ones. Who in the sport is doing things in a way that I really believe in.
I always wanted ThoughtSpace to be a catalyst of positivity.
Discs are recyclable, but no one really knows how to recycle them.
We pay for the carbon offsets for all of our touring team members.
I don't throw the farthest, and there are problems with my form, and I don't cash every week, but I am here, and I'm doing it, and I am making a living, and love my life. I grew up in Ramona, California, just outside San Diego. I played a lot of sports growing up, mostly soccer. I was always running around with my brother and the older boys, jumping bikes and building rope swings and forts and all of that.
Always loved the outdoors, pretty much fearless. You know, we're on some really atrocious ride, you know, at a theme park or something. And we're all, oh my gosh, and she's all, wee.
I was really lucky to live right next to Cleveland National Forest. It was right behind my house, and it's mostly just scrub, brush, and oaks and chaparral, and it was a place where I would go every day. I'd jump the back fence and just go out there for hours till the street light came on and you had to go home.
It's also not good for the heart sometimes, you know. She's standing on a fence, you know, a drop off in Grand Canyon going, hey Dad. I'm all, yeah honey.
My dad took me to play disc golf when I was 8 years old at Morley Field.
I'm 71 years of age and I've been disc golfing since about 22 years of age. So a long and not so illustrious career, but fun.
And I barely remember it, but he bought me a DX Panther and we played. And then I forgot all about it.
She really liked it, but we didn't pursue it that much. When she was about 14, when she got back into it, we were not quite simpatico at the time. You know, she was the stubborn teenager and I was the stubborn dad, you know. Anyway, one day she said, Dad, can we go disc golfing? I said, sure. You know, I mean, I didn't think she wanted to go with me. I said, okay, let me get your brother and some of his friends will hook you up. And she said, no, I want to go with you. I said, oh, okay. So that actually started bending things between us.
I think that playing disc golf with you, Dad, helped me see you as a person, you know. And I just got to like you as a guy. And you didn't have to be my dad. We just got to hang out. We would get to Morley Field at dawn. It took almost an hour to get there just to beat the crowd because even then it was a wildly popular course. And we'd play one round before everyone else got there and then play a second round that was a little bit chiller paced.
You know, you always want the best for your family especially. And, you know, something that can bring it closer together and heal things is fantastic.
Disc golf was like a really nice way for us to have like a really healthy, positive relationship. I have to stop talking about this. I have to stop talking about this. Ugh. Ah. Come here. Ugh. As soon as we went that second time, I knew that was something that I wanted to pursue as a hobby.
Well, we hit every golf course we could find in San Diego, and we continue that all through our lives.
Trash Panda inner core, give it a couple go.
Oh, Trash Panda.
Uh-huh. Ooh, yeah. Oh, tell me that doesn't feel amazing. Ah!
Number one.
Sign the board. Sign the board. Thanks, Dad, it was fun. Well, Missoula, Montana has been my home my entire adult life, and I ended up here because the University of Montana has a really compelling postcard campaign. I think I got a couple postcards. One was of someone kayaking on the river, and I just thought, I could do that. That could be me. I came out here and it was love at first sight. I knew this was the place for me.
We met the very first weekend of our freshman year. So my roommate and her roommate happened to be friends. So we just met very quickly that way. And then Erika and I and our other roommate just became like a trio, best friends. And over the course of our freshman year, kind of like very slowly developed into more than that. By the end, we were a couple, and that was 13 years ago. I had never even heard of disc golf, and she kind of grew up playing a little bit, very casually with her dad. Our friend who I mentioned, who's like we were a trio, he was into it pretty heavily because he's from the Charlotte area. So they took me disc golfing, we got more into it, but it was very casual. It wasn't until she met Sean.
Yeah, we met probably playing Ultimate Frisbee and at the climbing gym, and then both discovered that we were obsessed with disc golf. So we got out and played all the time as well.
When I came to Missoula, I played with my college friends, just really casually. Probably still played weekly.
So Eric and I were playing disc golf probably like 5 to 10 rounds a week, just like way too much. We didn't have a whole lot going on after school.
I never really saw any other women playing, really ever. You'd occasionally see, you know, someone's girlfriend or friend or whatever kind of walking and maybe throwing, but I never saw a woman take disc golf seriously for the first 6 years that I played.
I was like, dude, she rips. She's got to like play competitive. I bet she could make something out of it.
Then I graduated college, and a good friend of mine, Sean Nevins, asked if I wanted to play in a tournament.
Zootown Open was like, registrations were coming up.
And I said, no, I'm not gonna pay $50 to play disc golf. You're crazy.
I signed myself up and then just like texted her like, hey, I'm signing you up. I need someone to do this with me because I'm scared, and got her in as well.
And that was the best thing that could have happened to me. I don't know that I'd be playing professional disc golf without that moment.
And she said she'd pay me back, and I don't know if she did or not, but maybe I need to hold that over her. That's probably why she gives me so many free discs and stuff.
After I did that first tournament, that was the first time I played with other women and could see what other women could do and realize how good I already was and how much more capable I was at turning that into, you know, a real hobby. At that time, I still didn't know there was professionals that played sports.
Well, we moved to Seattle for about 2 years after graduating from our undergrad, and she quickly found the Portland's disc golf scene, especially the women's scene. So every weekend it seemed like she was going down there.
And I ended up going down to Portland a lot, where I met Tina Oakley, the owner of Sacs, my very first sponsor actually.
We saw Erika from afar and we just thought she looked so cool. We didn't get to play with her. And after the round, we asked her if she wanted to like hang out after. And she's like, no, I'm going home.
She asked me to hang out and I said, no, I'm too tired. And then a couple of weeks later, I was like, hey, I'm coming down for a tournament. I found her on Facebook.
And she had reached out to me asking if there were any campgrounds in the area. And later I found out she was hoping she could crash with me. But of course I offered she could crash with me, and we've been really good friends ever since.
And getting a little bit more serious and traveling a little bit more. I went to Daisy Chains in California. I went to Mad City Open in Wisconsin just to play amateur. I did most of those things with Tina Oakley, who helped me realize she wanted to be a professional too, and that we could both do it. And we kind of helped each other achieve that dream. But it took a long time.
We had that camaraderie of like encouraging each other to go play more events and get better in practice, and kind of held each other accountable for those things. It was really cool.
Got to play with so many amazing women and people, and I met professionals in the sport and realized this is something that maybe I can do and not just be a hobby, and it could be my life. And it's, I don't want to sound like it was a last-ditch effort, but I knew it was my last chance to be a professional athlete. And I figured I should probably do everything in my power to take that chance.
It must have been winter in Tucson that she came to visit, and her game just skyrocketed, and she was just motivated to get on tour.
Well, my first tour was in a 1981 Ford Econoline with no cruise control, no air conditioning, no nothing. I was sleeping on the streets in neighborhoods and could barely afford a campground and wasn't good enough to be caching, so it was hard.
She's a weekend warrior. She would drive, to Kansas and back in a long weekend and play and just be exhausted. And she did that for years.
During that 5 months, I was able to get my first disc golf manufacturing sponsor, Westside Discs, who helped me out a little bit at that time and more as time went on. But I toured for 5 months just to see, can I really do this? Do I want to do this? Is it financially feasible? And the answer to all of those questions was yes.
I would join her when I could, but it was a lot of solo trips for her. But seeing her fall in love with the sport and with the competition and the community of women in the Portland area was really special.
But it took me 4 more years after that to be able to do it the way that I wanted, to have enough financial security, to have a big enough sponsorship to make it where I could do it the way that I wanted to do it.
Teeing off first, from Missoula, Montana, Erika Stinchcomb.
So I've only really kind of been serious about disc golf for about 9 years, and the amount that it's changed in that time is astronomical. It's unbelievable to watch. We didn't have a pro tour.
There are a lot more people in it, and it's been really cool that her and I have kept that friendship this whole time, despite so much changes, and I'm not on tour anymore and she is now. We kind of just missed each other I got off tour right when she kind of got on tour.
I mean, when I first started, a field of 20 for FPO was massive, and that is crazy. And it's so cool that there are more and more ways for people to be successful and have the financial ability to tour, because that didn't exist for as many people when I first started.
I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb.
And we are some good-looking geese.
Two hot geese. Two hot Stinchcombs.
And welcome back to the Two Hot Geese commentary. Please honk if you love us in the comments.
I met Madison, I think it was Zootown Open maybe in 16. What is time? And we've always been friends.
We're both immediately drawn to each other because we have a lot of similar interests and hobbies. We both like to spend time outdoors. We both really like hiking. We both really are drawn to rivers, and that's kind of what brought us together, is our love of floating rivers.
But we weren't closer friends until a few years later. I pretty much forced her to go to my wedding before we were very close friends. I just knew we were going to be.
Erika kept saying, you guys got to come visit me in Montana. You got to visit me in Montana. We have amazing rivers here. And so finally decided to make the trip work. We went out there during the COVID-19 lockdown year, the 2020 year, where everything got really bad. Kind of fell out of a living situation, moved into an RV, needed to find a place to social distance, and moved to Missoula. And we stayed there for the entire COVID lockdown year and hung out with Erika every day, all the time.
I kind of just knew that, I don't know, she was one of my people. I think you only get a few friends like that, close, true friends that are gonna be your friends for the rest of your life. She has been doing commentary a lot longer than me, and part of it was to help grow interest in the women's side of the sport.
At first it was kind of happenstance. She was a friend of mine. We stayed at a house where we had mutual friends, and I kind of threw it out there, hey, you want to come try this out? And she jumped on the opportunity.
I think that one of the reasons people like mine and Madison's commentary so much is because they can tell that we are close and that we are friends and that we're inviting you into disc golf and, into the things that we like and think are funny.
And we ended up being able, out the gate, even not knowing each other as well as we do now, we ended up being able to joke around.
Been interesting kind of transitioning and getting into Jomez, which is essentially kind of what I view as the highest level of probably what we can do as commentators.
It made it easy. It made it the time fly by at a time when we were doing it at midnight, when we were doing it at 1 a.m. and we have tee times the next morning at 7 a.m. because both of us were not as good as we are now at disc golf.
And it's pretty great going to work with your best friend every day,
It's gotten even easier somehow, if that's possible, as we've gotten closer and closer.
Well, thank you for joining us all year long and for our final flight today. Thanks to Jomez, thanks to the Pro Tour, thanks to
just everybody. We love all of you guys.
Yeah. But it is time to rest our wings. It is time to migrate
to warmer skies.
Thanks to my mom.
Mine too. My mom too. My parents.
And I think that's all for us.
Yeah.
Okay, speech.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb.
I'm Madison Walker. We're your two huggies.
Honk.
Honk.
Oh, yeah!
We did it. In 2023, Westside chose not to continue sponsoring me, which was a shock, but it gave me a chance to kind of think about, well, who do I want to work with? Who in the sport is doing things in a way that I really believe in? And Infinite Disc and Thought Space Athletics were the first ones.
Well, Erika was pretty unique. Like, I knew who she was with Westside. I really liked her quirkiness. The first thing I ever really saw of her was like her sword, like little commercial that she did for her signature series, where she like kind of acted like Zelda.
First time I met her was Missoula, right when she was making the transition from her old sponsor to us, and so it was kind of an interesting time in her life because she was going through kind of a big change in her disc golf career.
Those companies, especially Infinite and Thought Space, are kind of a really beautiful mesh of we can all work together, we can all grow together, there's room for all of us.
Growing up, you know, we all have insecurities and feel different, and I wanted to kind of create a banner where people could kind of come together and motivate each other.
What defines Infinite is kind of our motto. It's throw what you love.
Beyond just the open bag concept, that spirit of community, I think, is something that we should protect in disc golf, and something that will be easy to lose as things get more commercialized. And then on top of that, I am the first Trash Panda sponsored athlete, which is something I'm really proud of.
The company was at a point where we could take on a sponsored player, but I didn't want to take on a bunch of sponsored players because I just wanted to do it really well, and I knew we could do it really well with one.
I discovered Trash Panda, in February of 2023, and I learned a little bit about their company.
Played for over a decade, and the whole time I was just like, it's plastic, where's the recycled plastic? Like, why not have more recycled plastic in the sport? Discs are recyclable, but no one really knows how to recycle them. So if a disc ends up at a recycling company, they're not gonna know what to do with it, and they're either gonna send it to someone else who maybe does, or they're gonna send it to the landfill. Because at the end of the day, it's insider knowledge what these things are made out of. But in 2020, I decided to just take the leap, start the company, posted our first video, and said, I'm gonna learn how to make a disc out of recycled plastic in my garage. How hard could it be?
At that time, they only had their original inner core as the throwing putter. They came out with a baseline inner core.
She started bagging our discs before we even knew it.
So I like the feel of the base plastic and gave their putters a try, just to be supportive and maybe bring attention to what they're doing in any way that I could. And it turned out I really liked the discs. I went to a Disc Golf Pro Tour industry conference and got to meet Jesse and hear him speak and just really believe in their mission.
We both see the world from the same lenses. We both see the world in a way that, like, we want to leave it better than we found it. We want to do good by the people and the planet.
I went to the Dune release party just for fun and to see what they were doing, and it was this really cool, huge party, and it was so great talking to everybody there, and it's one of the reasons I got into disc golf, things like that. You know, you just go to a brewery and you meet a bunch of people who like the same thing as you, and you all geek out about it for hours. It was a blast.
Erika called me at the end of the season last year, and we started talking about what 2024 looked like.
The more stoked he got, the more stoked I got, until we were like, we have to work together. We have to.
We said when we first announced it to the world that this sponsorship went beyond Erika being a player, that it was an alignment in values. So player number 1, Erika Stinchcomb, announced it earlier this year, and the community was just as stoked as we were.
Trash Panda is maybe the first company or group of people, or Jesse as a person, that I've met that invites you to sustainability, and it doesn't feel like there is judgment or pressure to do things a certain way.
People don't want to be told how to do things. And so I'm not here to tell you how to do things. And Erika doesn't take that approach either. Like, we're not here to push something in a way. It's more just like, we're doing this because we believe in it, and if you believe in it too, let's do it together.
I think most of us really didn't think it was possible, but that's the cool thing about what Jesse's doing is he saw something that was labeled impossible and wanted to try it anyways, and I have mad respect for that. He knew it was going to be really hard.
Well, we can all do something, and we can all do more together, and it's just a really kind and uplifting message, and a way for all of us to help pitch in to preserve all of the courses and all of the beautiful places that we get to play this sport.
Disc golf has a very unique position where we need nature to stay nature for us to do what we're doing.
I think disc golf is positioned to be a thing that's like, hey, we are an outdoors thing. We are a sport that depends on this beautiful landscape that we have, and we are thus actively invested in keeping it that way. And at this point, we've recycled over 20,000 discs, which is an insane number to think about. And that number only goes up. We get like a package every day of discs from someone.
I think Trash Panda is just the start and kind of a leader in sustainability, but we all get to decide what it is in the future. I mean, that's what we're doing. That's the whole dang thing.
All of the busyness that's around disc golf right now, because we're doing so much so quickly, we're learning so much so quickly, and deciding to take an aside almost and change things that are either cheaper or easier or more streamlined to kind of maybe take a little bit more of a roundabout way to make it more sustainable, to make it more efficient environmentally. It's not necessarily at the top of everyone's list because it doesn't necessarily have to be right now.
There's a lot of things that you can do individually that help a teeny tiny bit.
You know, we start off small. We want to make sure that we have the same look and feel that our customers are used to. You know, starting off with, 5% recycled plastic that you're mixing in there. See how that kind of affects, and maybe working up to 100% sustainability would be terrific.
Not using plastic water bottles, having water stations, having garbage cans or compost bins that are emptied regularly, having parts of the fairway that you have to stay on in order to not be tromping on sensitive habitat.
We pay for the carbon offsets for all of our touring team members throughout the year. So Sacs pays for those carbon offsets for all the cars driving thousands of miles every year.
You know, a lot of people are using recycled fiber and all that in clothes. So why don't we do that with jerseys and stuff like that also?
Most of us know a lot of the ways that we can at least start to be sustainable, and the more that you dive into that world, the more ways that you'll find, the more that we push to be sustainable together, and the more that we can change larger companies and change policies and just create that positive change that eliminates a lot of the waste that we're seeing.
I do see a massive shift in accountability towards brands and people actually caring about what brands and companies are doing that they support.
For me, kind of where we started was deciding to do some of the bigger stuff that no one's doing yet and talking about it, which is the weird part. There's like kind of this taboo feel of like, oh, I'm doing this good thing, but you're not supposed to brag about it. If people don't know you're doing it, then no one knows that they should be doing it too.
It's not easy, and none of us are perfect. Who doesn't want to try to do better, and who doesn't want to try to preserve nature for future generations? Like, I think those are things that we can all agree on, and we just need to kind of discuss on how do we do that. I have been so wrong about my future at most turns of my life. I mean, that's why I'm so proud of myself that I am disc golfing professionally, because it's one of the things that I really set out to do, and I am doing, and I'm happy to be doing it for now, but I don't know what it looks like in the future. I know I'll be doing it for a while longer.
She lives the dream, and there's nothing fake about it at all. It's just, she throws her whole self into it.
She's just so contagiously friendly and passionate about everything she does.
Erika is the most fun.
Her positivity's always there.
She's just someone that loves to have an adventure.
There she is. Rollerblading, you know.
She's stoked on this sport, but she also represents the things that are super good about this sport and good about this world at the end of the day.
Not trying to become famous or doing any of this stuff. She's doing it because she loves it. And that kind of passion is just, you know, like I say, she's fearless.
I think Erika's one of the coolest people that we have on tour. So if you have a chance to meet her or just like interact with her or support her, like she's the one to root for.
And I am pretty happy that I have chosen a career path where I have so many amazing people surrounding me, and I am lucky to have such a great support group of, you know, my husband, my family, just great friends. I overall just generally feel pretty lucky and try to appreciate that as much as possible.